morning she with shampoos a lot. Several morning she shampoos my locks. Always have my back, she stand true to that. Real type of loving, thank you for that. Yo, run barefoot without the shoes and socks. Cause she keep herself clean, man, I got catch no rush. And she love me for real, man, I feel have no cash. And any little thing and from a splish, she splash. Yo, all this blinging is like you forgot. Use cheddar as the bait, then you recruit the rat. So we listen couple speech of Martin Luther chat. Dennis Brown, Bob Marley and some super cats. Yo, it seem like she live upside the Duke shop. Cause she don't have a scratch, it's only beauty spot. When one duty start is when one duty stop. 1 9 to 5, 1 5 to 12 o'clock. You see me?
NTV Akawungeezi nkwaniriza na ku ssente z'abavubuka zikyagenda mu maaso n'okubeereza ebica nga n'olwaleero poliisi eyitiddwa bukubirire okubaziyiza okuddamu okuva mu mbeera. Ssente zino abavubuka b'omu Kampala tebannazifuna ekintu ekikyabasobedde era nga kikyababobbeza ddala omutwe. Gano n'amalala agakwatagana ne Pastor Kiwedde akwatiddwa kubikwatagana n'okusobya ku mukazi okwosaako abayizi ba siniya ey'okuna abafiiridde mu mugga bye tukuleetedde akawungeezi ka leero nga tetunnagenda wala sooka olaba ebirala ebikulu ebigalimu. Ssente zaffe ziriwa? Abavubuka balumbye ebitebe bya munisipaali y'e Nakawa ne Kawempe. Kidandala akakasiddwa ku bumyuka bwa Lord Mayor okugoba abawagizi awateeserezebwa kubajje mu mbeera. Entiisa e Kayunga, abaana ba siniya 2 bafiiridde mu nnyanja. Mu by'emizannyo, eno ttiimu mpanguzi, omutendesi wa Cranes Bobby Williamson aweze obutakyusa ttiimu ye mu mipiira egiddako. Nyongedde okwaniriza nate nze Hatimana Lugwa Sekaya. Ssente obuwumbi 16 n'ekitundu ezaweebwayo gavumenti okutumbula embeera z'abavubuka b'omu Kampala zongedde okubatabula. Sabbiiti eyise abavubuka b'e Rubaga n'ab'omu masekati ga Kampala beekalakaasa nga baagala bakulembeze baabwe babannyonnyole kiki ekigenda mu maaso kubikwatagana ne ssente zino. Olwaleero ab'e Kawempe ne Nakawa nabo bavudde mu mbeera ku nsonga y'emu eno. Bano balumbye ebitebe by'eggombolola zino nga tebasalikako musale era poliisi yebakakkanyiza. Omusasi waffe Kabituwe mu bujjuvu.
Abavubuka b'e Nakawa batabukidde ku kitebe ky'eggombolola ne balumba Meya Benjamin Kalumba nga baagala abanyonnyola ebikwata ku ssente ze bamaze ebbanga nga beetegekera. Kalumba abadde mu ofiisi ye ng'awulira awaliriziddwa okukifuluma atangaaze ku bigenda mu maaso naye kirabika abavubuka babadde babikoye.
Babasaze kwa voting program ya obusente bwa obutono butwale tukuzaawo ne bwatadde ku account of maintenance babutukize kubanga
bagenze tuka ku account macha ga leero sente bazijjeeko ng'ekyazikizaako sente zaabwe olw'ebizibu badde Rubaga Sento Kawempe and elsewhere. Abannakawa beebuuza bonga abannakawa bakola musango okubeera organized.
Endagaano abavubuka mu Kampala bagikola ne KCCA nga sente ze balina okuweebwa tebalina kuwaayo magoba wabula bino byonna byakyuse nga kati balina okukolagana ne bank.
Bank esaba amagoba okiwulidde n'ebintu ebirala bingi kati bank esaba simanya ababeeyimirira esaba emisingo ebitaliwo. Lwaki tukyusa goal positions?
Kawempe poliisi eyiridwa ku kitebe kya division abavubuka kye balumbye. Babadde baagala kulaba Meya Mubarak Munyagwa naye abadde mu lukiiko ku City Hall. Poliisi egezezaako okubawoyawoya naye eringa ebadde eyiwa ensaano ku mazzi.
batutuuza bye tulina okufuna ebyo bye baagala. Olwaleero ssente zaffe tebazituwanga. Ekituufu baagala abavubuka tukole tutya?
Nga baagala okutegeera obulungi abavubuka kyeki. Twagala tutuuke wano eno tugere okubeera ssaawa 8 nga twali kyabaddewo. Mugala batibuzannyira ku munyago.
Bano bategeezezza nti kati we bituuse bagenda kutwala KCCA mu mbuga lwa kumenya endagaano gye baakola nayo kyokka n'etatuukiriza. Omwaka gw'ebyensimbi 2011-2012 guggwako mu nnaku 10 okuva kati naye abavubuka tebannafuna ssente ez'abasuubizibwa ekyongedde okubamalamu essuubi mu biseera bino ebyakanayo kyani.
Ebyo bibadde Kawempe ne Nakawa. Poliisi enkya ya leero eziyiza abavubuka okuyingira mu kisenge ekiteesezebwamu ababaka ku lukiiko lwa Kampala Capital City Authority ng'etya nti bandibadde bayinza okuvaako akavuyo. Lord Mayor wa Kampala Erias Lukwago yasabye poliisi okuziyiza abavubuka bano nga waliwo okutya nti abamu ku bo bandibanga bazze n'ebigendererwa ebirala. Ebyo bibadde biri bityo ate ye Sulaiman Kidandala n'akakasibwa okumyuka Erias Lukwago so nga n'embalira ya KCCA ekubaganyiza abakulu empawa Dini Lubowa Sava bino byonna yabirina mu bujjuvu.
Abavubuka bano bavudde mu mbeera bwe bawulidde nti si baakuyingira gye bateeseza nga waliwo okutya nti bayinza okutaataaganya emirembe. Poliisi wano kwe kuyitibwa okubafulumya. Wabula kino abakiise b'abavubuka tekibasanyusizza era nga batuuse n'okwoza ku munye.
Any confusion, they are going to be arrested.
Come and enter.
Okuteesa nga kutandise wabaddewo ovaawo mpitewo ku nsonga y'okukakasa omumyuka wa Lord Mayor era nga abakiise abamu babadde baagala ekiteeso kino bakyongereyo bagende maaso ku nsonga za budgeti wabula Lukwago n'abatebuka.
There are two options. To open the Pandora box or to say what has happened, let's forge a way forward.
You are now saying that now that we have the budget, I have them. I am not going to leave the issue of the deputy mayor and move on to the budget. This is what I'm reading your mind as a lawyer.
First, resume your seat. First, resume your seat.
I still have the floor and I must express myself.
No, you are right. But you are right.
Asabiddwa yeeyogereko oba alina ebisaanyizo okufuuka omumyuka wa Lord Mayor nga kuno kubadde kulya mu ngubu teesokoola.
I would like to convince this House that I have all the requirements to serve this institution as the Deputy Lord Mayor. I have the requirements to serve this institution, the city of Kampala, and I can serve this country at large. And
I beg to know that Honorable Chidandala be approved.
Honorable Sulaiman Chidandala be approved as the Deputy Lord Mayor.
wabaddewo kalumanywera bwe kituuse ku nsonga za bajeti nankulu wa KCC Jennifer Musisi gy'abadde asoma. Lukwago ng'agamba nti aba KCC baayise obuwumbi 176 kyokka ate bwe kituuse ku kusoma Musisi ye ng'agamba nti bwali obuwumbi 171. Wabula ng'ate ebiwandiiko ebirala bibadde biraga nti ensimbi ezaayisibwa Paalamenti KCC ezeebeekozesa ziri obuwumbi 145 nga zaalina okugatibwako buwumbi 58 obwasangibwa ku akawunta za KCC enkadde.
So if you get this 58 billion, you add it on 145.7 billion, you don't get 171 billion.
You have requested for information. That's why we are called technical people. We are here to provide the information. You have requested us for an explanation of the figures. It is an explanation. All of us are not auditors or accountants. We have asked the specialist to explain. But if we keep interjecting and points of this and points of that, we are going to lose focus and the explanation will not come through and will end as confused as we started. Please allow us to present.
Ne ku mulundi ogwayita ensonga y'ensimbi zino yakubaganya abakulu bano empawa. Dini Lubowa Sava, NTV Akawungeezi.
Webale nnyo Dini Lubowa Sava. Mu mawulire amalala agetulina Akawungeezi kaleero, omusumba w'abalokole William Muwanguzi amanyiddwa ennyo nga Pastor Chiwedde, poliisi ezzeemu okumukwata. Ono ku mulundi guno ekimukwasizza bye bigambibwa nti aliko banne be yayambye okukaka abakyala 3 omukwano. Muwanguzi mu kiseera kino ali ku poliisi y'oku Old Kampala ng'okunoonyereza bwe kugenda mu maaso. Chiwedde ono ye nannyini kanisa emanyiddwa nga Holy Ghost Fire Ministries esangibwa e Namulanda ku luguudo oludda Entebbe.
Chiwedde akwatiddwa nga tulina emisango gye tunoonyerezaako, si ye yagiza naye yayambyeko abantu abamu be yabadde nabo okwetaba mu kikolwa ekyo. Ba victims basobodde okuba nti bamwogeddeko ne banokolayo n'emmotoka mwe yatambulidde. Kituvudde tumukwata era nga tusuubira ajja kututuusa ku bali abeetabye mu kikolwa ekyokwata omukyala, kubanga kigambibwa nti omukyala ono yasangiddwa ku MM pub ate era ne bajja paka ku Makindi House we basanze abakyala abalala ne babatuuza mu mmotoka ya Ipsam, ate ng'olwera emmotoka ya Ipsam Chiwedde alimu n'abaami abalala 3 abambadde ebyambalo ebyefaananyirizaako eby'amagye. Babavuze paka mu Kigobe eyo gye babayingiriza mu kiyumba ne babalekayo n'omusajja omu yabadde ayambadde ebyambalo ebyefaananyirizaako eby'amagye. Kati omusajja ono kwegezaako okubalimbalimba, babiri basobodde okudduka naye n'omu yatiisiddwa era ekyaddiridde kwe kumukaka omukwano ate nga yakozeseddwa abasajja 2 era nga tutandise okunoonyereza kwaffe mu nsonga zino.
Abayizi 2 okuva mu ssomero lya St. Augustine erisangibwa e Nakifuma mu disitulikiti y'e Mukono bafiiridde mu mugga gw'e Rwabyatta oguli ku kyalo Rwabyatta mu ggombolola y'e Kayonza nga kino kiri mu disitulikiti ey'e Kayunga. Bano babadde bagenze kuwuga. Abaana bano bombi babadde mu siniya yakuna ng'era babadde bamu ku baana 6 ababadde bagenze ku faamu emu e Rwabyatta okusoma. Omwana ow'okubiri okugwa mu mugga guno yabadde agezaako kuyamba munne eyabadde alemereddwa.
Abaana Hilda Namwanje ne Wire Sebalu be balese bannaabwe mu nsisi oluvannyuma lw'ogenda mu mugga Rwabyatta okuwuga olunaku lw'eggulo kyokka ne bafiiramu. Kigambibwa nti bano babadde bazze kusoma ku faamu y'e Rwabyatta eriraanye omugga guno mbu kyokka bwe bamaliriza kwe kusalawo okugenda okuwugako.
Teacher yagenze nabo era ina byakyakirira linga ki kufaamu wali munda kati ababiri ne bawulira bonga bbugu muli bakwatidde mu costa ne bagaga tunyo ku mazzi kuba abadde spring mwe bagudde omwe bafiiridde abaddeyo ku mazzi kale bamaze okunywa amazzi ayo mwana ayagala kugenda ku owuga naye abadde agwa adduka agamba munne togenda mu mazzi no bagudde mu mazzi nono gezaako okumusikayo bagwamu babiri.
Wabula kino ab'enganda z'abagenzi bakitadde ku bugayavu bw'abakulu abatwala essomero lino.
Abaana bangambye tebabaddeko basomesa obuvunaanyizibwa oleka omwana n'abaluka.
Wabaddewo obulagajjavu okubanga abaana abo batuuka okufa kubanga ono yagadde okutaasa munne ng'agenda mu kukkabaati amuwanyiso n'amuba ku mukono ne bakka bonna omulundi ogwo gumu.
Kinajjukirwa nti mu mwezi gw'okutaano mu mwaka guno abayizi 3 okuva mu Seguya Memorial Vocational Institute ekangulumira bafiira mu mugga guno gwe gumu, so ng'era ne ku ntandikwa y'omwaka guno waliwo omukyala eyattiramu abaana be 3 nga n'okutuusa kati tebazuulwanga.
Kibi nnyo eky'abaana abo era awamu n'egguliro eryo tugenda kuwummulamu katono ddala. Tovaawo NTV Akawungeezi kyagendera ddala mu maaso, ekitundu ekyokubiri kirimu bingi tobisubwa. Singa sirikaada nandirekulidde, Minisita Okelo Oriem attottoledde ababaka obuzibu bwalimu. Okukuuma obutonde bw'ensi, abannema baggaddewo factory y'amaliba e Masaka.
This is NTV.
Omuliro nenzikiza omuliro bayimba ebitaliyo ninyimba ebiriyo bwekubakuba munene nse munene asingayo.
Jose Chameleon, whose real names are Joseph Mayanja, is one of Uganda's all-time major artists. His music is enjoyed by people of all ages. People who don't understand the meaning of the words in his songs tend to know most, if not all, of the lyrics. Chameleon went to Nakasero Primary School in Kampala and then headed on to Kawempe Muslim School for his O-level and later finished at Progressive Secondary School. He started his road to fame while in Kawempe. It all started when he entered a Write the School Anthem competition, which he immediately won. Chameleon's talent was then recognized and he soon started singing and performing in small local clubs as an MC. He regularly sang some of his own songs, but they were never properly recognized because they were not recorded yet. Because Chameleon was a good MC, he proceeded to Burundi where he was on high demand. He then decided to come back to his home country, Uganda, so he could follow up on his dream and start his career as a musician.
I know you want me. You look Chameleon, not disarm me. With him again, can never desert me. From Asmala to Kampala, never forget me.
Upon arrival in Uganda, Chameleon started working with Shanks VVD. They recorded a song together called Forgive and Forget. Shanks VVD later left for Rwanda and Chameleon was left alone to decide his fate. He decided to seek bigger studios in Nairobi with the famous Ogopa DJs. While in Nairobi, he linked up with Baby Cool and Redson and came up with Mikono Jew, which became a #1 hit single on East Africa FM. He later wrote Bagaya and recorded it with Redson. This is the song that made Chameleon big in Nairobi. It became #1 and was played on all radio stations and in all discos and nightclubs. Jose Chameleon has had a number of concerts in Africa and around the world. In 2005, he performed at several shows in Denmark in support of fair global trade, where he then decided to appear at an extra concert in Etnoma, Copenhagen.
Chameleon, shining like a morning star. Shine like a moving star.
He has released over 5 albums, won a Pearl of Africa award for Artist of the Year, and is still one of East Africa's biggest artists. Jose Chameleon turns a concert into a fun and successful evening, leaving the crowd with happy faces from the moment he arrives on stage to the time he leaves. And he made an honest woman out of the love of his life, Daniela Atim, when he wed her in style. The self-styled ghetto president is one of Uganda's top singers. Born on 12 February 1982 in Mpigi district, Bobi Wine, also known as Robert Chagulanyi, grew up from the slums of Kamocha in Kampala. His career started way back in high school, where he entertained fellow students for the small fee of 50 shillings each. This culminated into his first hit, Akagoma, in 2000. Bobi Wine has managed to build himself a winning brand name by releasing several albums such as Kagoma, Funtula, Bam Bam, amongst many others. In 2006, he won the coveted Artist of the Year prize in the Pearl of Africa Music Awards. Bobby holds a bachelor's degree in music, dance and drama from the prestigious Makerere University.
Munafu kubanga okyali ku NTV Akawungeezi. Polisi ya Uganda emaze okukola enteekateeka okuweereza abapoliisi abawerera ddala 130 e Mogadishu mu Somalia. Abasajja n'abakazi bano bagenda kwenyigira mu kukuuma abakulu, ebifo eby'enkizo n'emirimu emirala nga gwe gugenda okubeera omulundi ogusoose abapoliisi okwenyigira obutereevu mu kukuuma emirembe e Somalia. Nigeria ne Ghana be babadde balina abapoliisi abawerako e Somalia ng'aba Uganda babadde batono ddala abaliyo era babadde bakola gwa kwebuulizibwako gwokka.
Omwaka oguwedde we gwaggweerako ng'abapoliisi okuva amawanga ga Africa abayamba ku poliisi e Somalia balinga 30 bokka. Mu mwezi ogwokutaano omwaka guno, Nigeria yayongerayo abalala 29 naye nga ne bano omulimu gwe balina omukulu kuwa amagezi eri poliisi ya Somalia.
So currently we are 60, including 29 who joined us recently from Nigeria, yes.
Ku mulundi guno abapoliisi ba Uganda 100 bagenda okuweerezebwa ng'omwezi guno tegunnaggwako. Bagenda kwenyigira butereevu mu kukuuma emirembe n'okulungamya enkola ya poliisi ya Somalia naddala mu kibuga Mogadishu.
Bagenda ne komanda waabwe, bagenda n'ebyokukozesa ebyabwe n'amamotoka gaabwe, buli kimu babeera n'ebintu byabwe bikozesebwa era bwe batuuka eri ne baweebwa we banaabeera we baviira ne bagenda ne bakakalabya emirimu gyabwe naye nga bajja kuba bakola emirimu gya VIP protection, okuuma ebifo eby'ebitiibwa, abantu ab'ebitiibwa.
Mu Somalia okukwasisa amateeka kikyali kizibu ddala nga n'okutwaliza wamu bannansi balina okusomesebwa okukuuma amateeka n'okuloopa bagamenya. Abapoliisi abaliyo batono ate nga bakulu nnyo mu myaka, wabula nga abasinga ku bo kye bateekeddwa okukola tebakimanyi. Ensasula yaabwe naye ekyali mbi nnyo wadde nga bakolera wakati mu bulabe. Ebizibu ng'ebyo abapoliisi ba Uganda bye boolekedde.
Kati batendekeddwa okusinziira ku kusoomoozebwa okuli mu kitundu eyo gye balaga era nga tusuubira nti kati beetegefu babanguddwa.
Abagenda bakumalayo omwaka gumu olwo ate ekibinja ekirala kiryoke kigende.
Minisita avunaanyizibwa ku nsonga z'amawanga ag'ebweru ayanise obuziina bwa gavumenti bwelina ku nkolagana n'amawanga amalala. Minisita Okelo Oriem abadde mu kakiiko ka Parliament n'agamba nti singa si kuba kada wa NRM obwa minisita yandibwabulidde. Oriem okwabya gavumenti kivudde ku kulemererwa okumuwa ensimbi z'alina okukozesa okuteekawo enkolagana ennungi n'amawanga g'ebweru, okwosaako ne gavumenti ya Uganda obutafa ku bintu byayo ebiri mu mawanga amalala. Jingo Francis n'ebisingawo.
Minisita Okelo Oriem atadde akaka ayanise obuziina bwa gavumenti bweyina mu nkolagana n'amawanga amalala. Ategeeza abakakakiiko akavunaanyizibwa ku mbalirira y'eggwanga nti ebya Uganda byasoba anti buli walaga beewuunya ekifaananyi Uganda kyeyina mu mawanga olw'obutafa ku bintu byayo mawanga ago.
Each time I go there, the presence of the king asks me, but Oriem, you people give birth to the child, but you abandon the child. You don't bring milk to the child, you buy the nappies for the baby. What kind of people are you? But you take tomatoes and, you know.
Agamba nti oluusi bw'afuna akakiso okugendako ebweru w'eggwanga mu nnyonyi mw'atambulira atula mu kifo kya lukale so nga banene banne mawanga amalala batambulira ddala nga bakungu.
Business lounge, you know, big people. Then when they enter the plane, I'm alone in the business class. Where are others? Are they third class? No. Where? They're in the first class. They continue consulting. Me, I'm here. You should see the car I pick my visas from. When I arrived at that hand, they stretch out the limousines for the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Special envoy of President Museveni has arrived. They put him in the
Kukino kwagasse n'okubanga ne hoteli mwasula atya kuzigamba banne era tayagala kweyogerako nga Minister of Uganda.
The hotel the Minister of Foreign Affairs lives in, my friend. He's downtown in Queens. Like, go cool, my friend. This is the Minister of Foreign Affairs. In the evening, my friend says, let us meet at the Waldorf place for consultation. I pretend I'm sitting at the lounge with the Waldorf with them. I pretend I'm staying up there. When the time comes, I said, excuse me, go to the toilet. I'm going to my book. No, really.
Agamba nti emirundi mingi bw'akyaza abagenyi atola mu nsawo ye okubagulira caayi n'omwenge ogw'ebbeeyi ate bw'agenda okubanja ssente z'asaasaanyizza buli siiti ne bamugobya.
Where shall we have lunch, Mr. Minister? Oh, Emin Pasha will do. You know, oh, let's go to Sheraton. Now, when this is there, you know, when the bill comes, when it comes, the man ordered a bottle of wine there, blah, 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 blah. It comes 300,000 for one ambassador. Tomorrow another ambassador, 300,000. Out of my money. But when you give the receipt, it's all you're going to want to spend it.
Bino byonna abyogedde nga minisita w'ebyensimbi Maria Kiwanuka amutunuulidde era agambye nti singa sikkada wa NRM obwa minisita yandibukubye mukama we.
It's sometimes embarrassing that it's because we are cadres and you know you just accept your deployment and you don't question the deployment and you move on. Previous governments misled the head of states, misled. I can tell a long story about previous government, my brother, but another day.
Ssentebe w'akakiiko awadde ekyokulabirako ng'ekimu ku bitebe bya Uganda kyavunda dda era nga ambasada waayo asula atudde enkuba bw'etonnya kubanga mu kisenge mwasula amazzi agalembeka na baketi.
The ambassador has a basin. He stays there alone. He has a basin to trap water in his bedroom. We told us come and see. He has to put it is leaking and all he needs is just $500 million shillings.
Okero olyemu okutakaka bw'ati abadde mu kakiiko minisita w'ebyensimbi Maria Kiwanuka gy'abadde agenza okusaba ennyongereza ya buwumbi 517 obwasaliddwa ku bitongole ebitali bimu ne buteekebwa mu birala ng'omwaka gw'ebyensimbi guno tegunnaggwako. Guno si gwe mulundi ogusoose minisita okwogera bw'ati. Minisita Kahindo Tafire yategeeza nti baminisita kati batambulira ku boodabooda mbu tebabawa amafuta gabatambuza. Yo gavumenti egamba nti ekyaji tekirimu ssente zimala. Jingo Francis, NTV Akawungeezi.
Ebyo bye bibadde mu Parliament olwaleero. Ekitongole ekivunaanyizibwa ku butonde bw'ensi Kinema kiwaliriziddwa okuggalawo ekkolero ly'amaliba erisangibwa mu munisipaali y'emu ey'e Masaka lwa butagoberera mateeka gafuga butonde bwansi. Kigambibwa nti bannannyini kkolero lino nga nzaalwa za Lebanon babadde basusse okuyiwa obukyafu mu lutobazi lw'e Namajuzi ekiviiriddeko abantu okweraliikirira nti endwadde nnyingi zandibalumba.
Abakungu mu kitongole kya Nema bagamba nti factory eno ekola amaliba tetukagana n'amateeka ga butonde ng'esazeewo kazambi waayo okumusindikiza mu lutobazi lwa Namajuzi. Abakulu bagamba nti kino kimenya amateeka g'obutonde era nga tebasobola kukikkiriza. Abannema okutuuka okusalawo ku nsonga zino babadde mu kulambula disitulikiti omuli Mpigi, Rakai ne Masaka okwetegeeza engeri obutonde gye bubonereddwamu. Abakozi mu factory eno abali emwanamu abataano basangiddwa nga bakolera nawo wajama ekintu eky'obulabe eri obulamu bwabwe. Abakulu mu kitundu kino bagamba nti okuwona obutonde bw'ensi kweyongedde nnyo mu bitundu bino.
Especially ni grama, ni buunga, lwanyi, then kabonera and in China mukaka. Also along with the lecturers, the degradation is also increasing. People want to get to build and construct their houses and do cultivation.
Yakulya factory eno Ali Kafa akanze kwewozaako ng'ategeeza nga batayiwa bucaafu mu lutobazi luno naye nga buteerere.
It's not on the down. There is nothing in the wetland.
There we found what? Sacks.
He was with you. Not on the wetland.
Mu bufu bwe bumu obwo abannema baliko abasajja bana be bakutte nga bano basangiddwa nga bazimba ekizimbe mu lutobazi. Bano bakwatiddwa mu kitundu ky'Ebukakata. Ekisinza okwewuunyisa abakungu bano kyekyokuba nga abantu bangi mu kitundu kino bafuna ebyapa mu ntobazi.
Though there are some weakness in enforcement which we are trying to handle, we together with the district officers and then the police officers. The degradation is due to some land titles which are issued in those fragile ecosystems, especially along the lake shores.
Abakwate batwaliddwa mu kaduukulu ka poliisi Masaka.
NTV Akawungeezi ekyagenda mu maaso. Tovaawo nkomawo n'agava mu kisaawe ky'ebyemizannyo oluvannyuma lw'obubaka buno.
This is NTV.
Much more has been said and written about Isaac Tumo than any other instrumentalist in Uganda. Born and raised here, he has been dubbed the country's leading jazz artist, best saxophonist in East and Central Africa, arguably East Africa's best jazz artist, Uganda's Kenny G, and Uganda's sax wizard. The list is endless, but one thing's for sure, Isaac Tumo is a living treasure on the East African music scene. Isaiah has a musical background of African traditional folk music, and for the past 20 years, he has developed a blend of sounds to express his East African identity, smooth jazz influence, and Christian passion. He has featured on various international media stations and has shared the stage with artists like Jonathan Butler, the late Miriam Makeba, Manu Dibango, Phil Driscoll, Alvin Slaughter, Vicky Yohi, and Oliver Mtukudzi. Isaiah has played for a wide range of audiences, including over 20 global heads of state. He has performed in the UK, Belgium, Holland, Paris, Rwanda, and Sierra Leone, to mention but a few. His concerts have been rated as excellent and have drawn crowds considered.
NTV Akawungeezi n'amawulire agava mu kisaawe ky'ebyemizannyo. Omutendesi wa Uganda Cranes Bobby Williamson agamba nti si wakuddamu kutaataaganya ttiimu ye eyawangudde eya Congo Brazzaville mu mupiira gya Africa gye bagenda okuzzaako mu mwezi ogw'omwenda. Kino ajjukirwa nti Uganda Cranes yawangula Congo Brazzaville ku goolo 4 ku bwereere mu mupiira ogwaliwo mu kisaawe Namboole mu ggandayo lya Sabbiiti ewedde.
Nga Uganda yetegekera okusamba ne ttiimu endala gye banaaba bagiwadde mu mpaka z'okusunsulamu ttiimu ezinazanya mu kikopo kya Africa omwaka ogujja. Omutendesi wa ttiimu y'eggwanga Bobby Williamson ategeezezza nga bw'atagenda kukyusa mu ttiimu eyawangudde Congo.
I don't like changing teams who have been successful and have done well. And it would be difficult for me to leave players out of the team. Every opposition is different. I think if we'd have played with that team against Senegal the previous week, we may have struggled. They may have opened our defence up a bit easier. So as I said, you've got to be cautious at times as well.
Uganda yakumanya ttiimu gyezzaako omwezi ogujja. Ate bo abakungu ba FUFA bateekateeka kuperereza abakiise mu lukiiko lw'eggwanga olukulu babagobere ku ssente ez'abasuubizi bwa Pulezidenti Museveni gye buvuddeko. Omwogezi wa FUFA Rogers Mulindo agamba nti bajeti yasomeddwa Sabbiiti ewedde teyalabise kubaamu ssente zaabwe.
Bagamba zimu zagenda mu basomesa ba science endala zigenda mu basomesa ba primary. Tetuwulira muntu yenna wa gavumenti avaayo gamba nti n'ekitongole ky'ebyemizannyo omupiira twagutaddemu ensimbi bwezi. N'ekyo tusabye abaka ba parliament mikwano gyaffe abanyumirwa ennyo ebyemizannyo nga tetutunuulidde byabufuzi byabwe batuyambeko okunoonya mu mbaliriro eno.
Okuvaako mu kikopo kya Bulaaya, omuzannyi Wayne Rooney yakomyewo mu ttiimu ya Bungereza n'ebbugumu era n'amaanyi bwe yagitebedde ggoolo eyagiyisizaamu okwesogga oluzannya lwa quarter final. Bungereza yawangudde abategesi banne aba Ukraine mu mpaka z'ekikopo ky'amawanga ga Bulaaya. Mu mupiira omulala, Sweden nayo yawanduse mu mpaka z'omwaka guno wadde nga yasobodde okuwangula Bufalansa ggoolo 2 ku bwereere.
Guno gwe gwabadde omulundi gwa Wayne Rooney ogwasoose okuzannya mu mpaka z'omwaka guno era nga yazitandikidde mu Gia. Wadde nga yasoose kulemwa mukisa mu kitundu ekisooka, Rooney yatomedde omupiira mu katimba mu kitundu ekyokubiri n'ateeba ggoolo eyawadde Bungereza obuwanguzi.
The Ukraine defence stood and stared, and Rooney nipped in. England have their lead. Their talisman has picked his moment, and Ukraine are on their knees.
Obuwanguzi buno bwatuusizza Bungereza okukulembera ekibinja dda. Wabula omupiira guno gwalese bangi nga bennyamivu olwa ggoolo ya Ukraine gye yateebye naye n'esazibwamu D3 mbu kubanga omupiira tegwatuuse mu katimba. Mu mupiira ogwokubiri mu kibinja kino, Sweden yakubye France ggoolo 2 ku bwereere naye kino tekyagitaasizza. Zlatan Ibrahimovic yasoose okuteebera Sweden oluvannyuma lw'okufuna omupiira okuva ewa Sebastian Larsson.
The goal and the two up here, Ibrahimovic! What a goal! What a goal from Zlatan Ibrahimovic! Quite magnificent, and that's why he's one of the best in the world. A sensational volley from the Swedish captain has got them celebrating in Kiev.
Oluvannyuma Larsson naye yeteebedde eyiye, Sweden neewanduka mu mpaka z'omwaka guno n'obuwanguzi.
Sweden have done it. They've won the points here. They may be going home bottom of Group B, but they're going home triumphantly.
This is NTV.
Etasiima ebulwa ajuwa. Kwebale nnyo munaffe okubanga obadde naffe ekiseera ekyo kyonna. Tojjanga okwo kola bw'otyo ne ku ssaawa 3 bwe tunaaba tukuleetedde amawulire mu lulimi Olungereza. Ndi Hatman Alugwa Sekaya. Twisinkana olwako Rencha tova ku NTV Weraba.
African hustler, African hustler,
Big up for Daniel Chikozi Jr., also known as Navio, a young, dynamic and talented musician who's been one of the pioneers of the hip-hop scene in Uganda.
The savior's here, I need 2 hymns. If I do 2 tracks, that's 2 gems. I'm just getting revved up.
Navio has spent over a decade in the industry, and his growth to become a major hip-hop star has mirrored the growth of hip-hop in Uganda.
Well, I like to hustle, like an open door. You wanna skip work, well I can do a chore. To my bank is a strength, to the world is a flaw.
At the age of 16, he formed the hip-hop group Clear Cut with 4 of his closest friends: Tom Mayanja, also known as The Myth, Jonathan Leslie, also known as J Bola, Abalang, also known as Langwan, and Habib Abdul Hussein, also known as Papito.
To know if I pass on in UG, I'll be late. I touch wood cause I know the talks of death are not good. So to all my foes and dump toes,
Little did they know that from humble origins, it was to be the beginning of a musical journey that would take them to uncharted heights of success and popularity with the first album, Mind, Body and Soul, in 2000.
If I'm selling papers, I thank my maker. Why you wanna hate, bro? I could be your neighbor. Ain't trying to escape the challenges in life. I can handle this.
After several years of studying, Navio officially returned to the music scene in 2008 with a degree in communications from Monash University in South Africa and started a new company, Navcore, an entertainment company set to manage his affairs. Now a fully fledged solo artist, he got to work on his debut album, Half the Legend.
Years of barber, working a little harder to make you look smarter than ask why bother.
Throughout 2008, he released several songs that will form the basis of the album. The hits from this album brought him numerous accolades, including winning Best Hip Hop Artist at the Palm Awards and nominations at Kenya's Kisima Awards for Best Male Artist, Best Music Video, and Best Hip Hop Artist.
Goes up, whenever she's on the floor.
She goes up, down, leave a fella wanting more. She goes up.
Preparing for half the legend, Navio also received the rare honor of becoming the first artist ever to be nominated twice in the same category at the Kora Awards. Navio headlined his first American tour, where he performed at the Ugandan North American Association in Washington, as well as to large crowds in Boston. In 2010, Navio's career kicked into high gear following the release of Hands Across the World, his brand new track that features international superstar R. Kelly, plus 7 of other super refined African artists who include Two-Face from Nigeria, Ali Kiba from Tanzania, Amani from Kenya, Fally Ipupa from the DRC, and 4x4 from Ghana, JK from Zambia, and Movai Salene from Gabon. R. Kelly produced the track at the world-famous Chicago studios in collaboration with the members of 1-8 due to his powerful force in R&B worldwide, in addition to his global fame that picked numerous awards for Navio.
You cannot deny it. Let's go, people.
With all these feathers in his cup, it is clear that Navio's talent is indisputable, and the star continues to rise up and up to hip-hop legendary status.
You don't need a weapon. All I can promise is sandy beaches, no shutterbugs, no tuttering. When I go and cut a rug, you're a big girl. Last thing you need is.
Our star profile today is the breathtakingly beautiful R&B soul singer Juliana Kanyomosi. A second last born in a family of 6 children, Juliana was born on the 27th November 1980. Juliana started her career while performing karaoke in different places around Kampala in the early 90s. Juliana, together with Irene Namubiru in their group IJ, did wonders when they released a track album that immediately became a hit. The IJ duo was Juliana's first music collaboration, though an incident of luck since they were brought together after Steve Jean spotted their talent. Juliana Kanyomosi has risen to become one of the biggest music divas in Uganda and East Africa at large. She has won at least 10 Pearl of Africa Music Awards. In 2004, she won Best R&B Artist. In 2005, Most Inspiring Song, Best R&B Single, Best R&B Artist, Best Female Artist, and Song of the Year for her song Mamambire. She has collaborated with Bobby Wine, and they came up with tracks like Tatawa Bana Yani. Kanyomosi also sang tracks like Say Yes. Juliana Kanyomosi was also a part of the HIV/AIDS campaign song called A Little Bit of Love, with Ugandan musicians like Kid Fox, Jackie Chanderu, Cindy, Nanduja, Nikki Nola, Peter Miles, Mr. Mosh, and Misach Semakula, among many others who brought out their best of talent, preaching about the dangers of AIDS and the solutions to prevent the killer disease. Her music prowess has also seen her as a judge of Project Fame, a music competition for artists from East Africa. Also, her song, Kanyimbe, became a hit in the gospel world, and this truly enmeshed her versatility with all genres of music. Juliana is a first cousin to King Oyo of the Toro Kingdom in Uganda, a fact that many people in Uganda do not know. Kanyomosi's father and King Oyo's father are biological brothers, and that she's actually a princess of the Toro Kingdom as well.
Time you come around, you know what I feel like doing to you. Rukundo, don't waste my time. If you know what I want, just give it
Today we bring you Jackie Chanderu, a former member of the Blue 3 who had to be pushed to take a step in which he has found pride and happiness. Born to a Lugbara father and a Muganda mother, Jackie Chanderu is one of Uganda's leading female R&B artists and vocalists. Jackie kicked off her musical career in 2004 after she emerged as one of the winners for the Coca-Cola Pop Stars. This led to the formation of Blue 3 that became one of the leading girl groups in Uganda and Africa with hit songs like Kakana, Hitaji, among many others. Jackie did not wish for a solo music career, and when the idea was first mooted in October 2009 by the Blue 3 management team Talent 256, Jackie was more than apprehensive to an idea she voted against but lost. However, from the look of things, it is evident that Jackie definitely enjoys the harvest of her solo career, with her songs acquiring more airplay and attention.
I still stand through thick and thin, yeah, like a tiger on and proud.
Jackie's solo career started in 2010 when Blue 3 went on leave, leading to the girls working on solo projects, thus Jackie releasing Agasi in both Lugbara and English as her first solo in mid-2010.
It be my dream, my miyagi, itongo mape.
This song has earned recognition and eventually earned her an award as Best R&B Single in the 2011 Palm Awards.
Like a dream in my sleep, and I know that you wanna be free. Live my dream. All I know in my heart is I just wanna say goodbye.
This was followed by several others like I Belong to You, Shamim, Overdose, and Gold Digger.
I'm not a gold digger. I'm not a gold digger.
She has also done duets with Dr. Jose Chameleon, Rabadaba, Sami from Eritrea, Paul Mutebi of Limit X, Navio, and Fidempa, and so many more artists.
Don't pull your ears to what I chat about. Spread your wings and fly.
Although she's come this far, Jackie has not received everything on a silver platter. At first, it was not easy for radio and TV stations to play her music like they used to when they were still the black ladies from Uganda, Blue 3. However, her music is surely catching the waves in East Africa and the rest of Africa.
I live in the heart of the one I desire. For all time, I long to be in your dreams for life.
Gifted by nature, that aptly describes Uganda. Today, on Showcase Uganda, we experience what goes on during the extraction of one of Uganda's mineral resources. Uganda is naturally endowed with an abundance of flora and fauna, in addition to a notable collection of mineral resources like gold, copper, cobalt, and oil. Our travels today will finally take us to Lake Katwe in Kasese district in southern Uganda, where we shall witness the extraction of salt from Lake Katwe. After traveling for about 4 hours through Uganda's beautiful landscapes, we find ourselves in Bushenyi district. It is a cooler district than the others we have visited so far, the countryside lined with numerous stunning low-lying hills. We are intrigued by the vast farmlands we are passing through, so we decide to make a brief stop and admire one of these farms at Chanderu. Back on the road, we soon come upon the Chanderu Matoke market. The district is one of the country's main producers of matoke, which is also its staple food, in addition to akaro, potatoes, and cassava. We behold vast matoke plantations along the route that are typical of the region, which brings us to the Kabohe market, which also specializes in matoke. In spite of the fact that coffee is the main income earner in the district, matoke is a farm favorite. From Kabohe, our route continues through Mushanga, taking in more striking sceneries which punctuate our journey right up to Bushenyi town. The town is small and peaceful. Here, you get a feeling that time stops as everyone goes about their business with the lack of that sense of urgency characteristic of major towns. The town also hosts the district's headquarters, and you will also find a state lodge. After Ishaka town, we travel through the impressive plantations and beautiful hills of Chamhunga. By and by, the scenery changes and we are confronted with lovely green tea plantations. Apparently, tea is widely grown in Bushenyi district. Since we wanted to admire more of these lovely scenes, we head for the Finlay Tea Factory. Nestling deep within the plantations, the factory is responsible for processing the tea grown in the area. The factory provides employment, which has made a favorable improvement in the standards of living in the region. Some of these estates overlook the majestic Maramagambo forest. This is one of the largest rainforests in Uganda, stretching from the foot of the Kichwamba escarpment to Lake Edward and the Congo. It is a medium altitude, moist, semi-deciduous forest, characteristics which make it one of those forests that are increasingly becoming rare in Africa. Due to the volcanic activity in the area, it has very spectacular lakes and craters, one of which is Lake Rutoto. Lake Nyungu is another crater lake where a lot of fishing is practiced. It is evening when we tackle the final leg of our journey to Kasese district, and we have arrived in the environs of Queen Elizabeth National Park. Right before our eyes lay the splendid Kazinga Channel. The channel is an impressive 32-kilometer wide long body of water that links Lake Edward and Lake George and is a dominant feature of the Queen Elizabeth National Park as a tourist attraction. It draws a varied range of animals and birds, with one of the world's largest concentration of hippos and numerous Nile crocodiles. It also provides water for domestic use for the local people and fishing opportunities. Crossing the Kazinga Channel takes us right to our destination, Kasese district. Cruising through the park provides us with some pleasant views, and soon we reach the equator. Crossing the equator twice in one day is a new experience for us. First in the east at Masaka, and now in the west at Chikorongo. By the time we arrive at the hotel, where we would spend the night before proceeding to Lake Katwe, the sun was going down. When Showcase Uganda returns, we take a trip to Lake Katwe and witness the salt working. The next day we rise with the sun, full of anticipation at the thought of the day's adventures. Breakfast is a refreshing experience. At breakfast, we sit at the terrace overlooking the majestic Rwenzori Mountains. Bathed in the cool morning mountain breeze, the view is breathtaking. The misty mountains are looming proudly over the countryside, resplendent in the We vow to tackle this amazing mountain at some point on this trip, definitely get up there to bask in the glory of looking down at the wide world at our feet. After breakfast, we hit the road, making our way to Lake Katwe. But first on our agenda is Lake George, where we hope to catch a glimpse of some of its famed animal life. We were not disappointed. There, in the brilliant azure waters of the lake, were pods of hippos lazily swimming about. Hippos spend the majority of their time in water, emerging at night to feed. They live in large pods of up to 40, with one dominant male. After marveling at these huge mammals, we take off again, and soon our progress is a bumpy ride down to the lake. But this is compensated for by the unique scenery we are passing through, made up of fantastic rock formations. Even from a distance, the lake is spectacular, with its mosaic patterns made up of sword pans. Lake Katwe is an explosion crater lake and is 7 meters at its deepest and 3 meters at its shallowest, with a circumference of 7 miles. Mining of salt in Lake Katwe has been going on since the 15th century using traditional methods. It's still going on today under the Lake Katwe Salt Company Limited. The lake has over 30 freshwater inlets, which contributes to its inexhaustible supply of salt. Collecting salt is the major activity at the lake, where 3 different types of salt are harvested by both men and women, though the women keep to the shallow water for health reasons. The 3 types of salt are harvested from individual divisions called pans. Grade 2 washed salt is for domestic use. Grade 2 unwashed salt is used for preserving hides and also animal consumption. Rock salt, or magadi, is formed through sedimentation and is extracted by men in the middle of the lake. It's transported using amber logs, which are light and easily float.
We have 3 economic activities. 1.
Tourism is another activity carried out at the lake, which receives a considerable number of visitors, both local and international, all eager to learn about this fascinating activity.
This one has its unique characteristic. It has inlets on its sides, those we can call them streams, which keep on pushing water into the main lake every day since the lake was created. So whenever we receive rainfall, during rainfall seasons, the rainfall water penetrates through the rocks that you see around here. which are called sedimentary rocks. Some of them are permeable rocks. So the water penetrates through the permeable rocks, goes down underneath and meets there another impermeable rock. Then the rainfall water is not able to penetrate through that impermeable rock. And then that water collects to form a small stream, and which stream goes up to the main lake. So on this Lake Katwe we have more than 35 streams. So those streams, after entering into the main lake, in the main lake there are some small vents or small holes. So the fresh water, which doesn't taste salty, it is tasteless, penetrates through those small vents, goes down 400 meters in the middle of the lake. 400 meters there is a mother rock of sodium chloride, which is present in a solid form. And that rock goes through Lake Katwe, through Lake Munyanyange, up to Nyamnuka and Kasenyi. Yeah, so that fresh water dissolves that rock down, and you know this is a volcanic area. We expect pressure down, which forces that water, after leaking on the sodium chloride rock, then the water changes to another solution, which is called saline water or brine. So that brine underneath, it is pushed by pressure through the upthrust force, and then it comes back into the main lake. So that water that you see in the main lake, it is from underneath, mixed with rainfall water.
You can arrange for a guided tour at the Katwe Tourism Office in Kasese. Selection of handicrafts. When Showcase Uganda returns, we experience some wildlife in a serene environment. After a wholesome tour of the saltworks, we decide to unwind by communing with nature. Our explorations take us to the flamingos of Lake Katwe and Munyanyange, which is a seasonal lake. At this time of the year, there are only a few flamingos, as most have migrated to Lake Nakuru in Kenya. They are more numerous during the rainy season. Flamingos filter feed on brine shrimp. Their oddly shaped beaks are specially adapted to separate mud and silt from the food they consume and are uniquely used upside down. Flamingo tongues were considered a delicacy in ancient Rome. Our cruise through Queen Elizabeth National Park yields a troop of olive baboons. The baboon, of all primates in East Africa, most frequently interacts with people. Apart from humans, baboons are the most adaptable of the ground-dwelling primates and live in a wide variety of habitats. Intelligent and crafty, they can be agricultural pests, so they are treated as vermin rather than wildlife. They sleep, travel, feed, and socialize together in groups of about 50 individuals consisting of 7 to 8 males and approximately twice as many females, plus their young. For the first month, an infant baboon stays in very close contact with its mother. The mother carries the infant next to her stomach as she travels, holding it with one hand. By the time the young baboon is 5 to 6 weeks old, it can ride on her back, hanging on by all its 4 limbs. In a few months' time, it rides jockey style, sitting upright. Between 4 and 6 months, the young baboon begins to spend most of its time with other juveniles. Just by the blue waters of the channel, we find a herd of the mighty elephants. They look so peaceable as they graze, you could almost think that you can actually get out of the car and stroke one, but we dare not. We are humbled by their sheer size. The baby elephant is particularly cute looking, and it's amazing to think that a calf can actually weigh up to 120 kilograms at birth. The calf is surrounded by a large group of female elephants. Apparently, baby elephants are raised and nurtured by the whole family group made up of mother, aunts, sisters, and daughters practically from the moment of birth. As we are wondering at the reddish and brownish patches on their bodies, we learn that this is a result of wallowing in the mud holes of colored soil. The mud acts as a sunscreen, protecting the elephant's sensitive skin from harsh ultraviolet radiation. We crown our explorations watching the Uganda kob. Next week on Showcase Uganda.
This is NTV.
Same colors, think of a theme. Think of a theme, you know, what you want to feel like when you're wearing this outfit, this lingerie, what you want to feel like. How comfortable you are is another important thing, because if you're comfortable with what you're wearing inside, you know, you can have your day okay, you can have a good time. But if you're not comfortable, then it's, you know, another issue altogether. And think of how, you know, you appear, even if it's under you, you know, you want to think of what you appear when you're wearing it. And if you're wearing it in your bedroom, you want to, you know, think about what the person looking at you is, you know, is going to think as well. So, you know, something visual, what is someone going to see when they see you? So something nice, you know, something nice.
There have been many debates on the shapes of women's underwear and what is and isn't decent. Lingerie as we know it is a relatively recent concept. Our grandmothers would probably never combine the words sexy and lingerie in the same sentence. Because in the early part of the 20th century, women's underwear was designed for functionality rather than sensuality. Until the 1960s, women's underwear served three main purposes: shape, hygiene, and modesty. As the 20th century progressed, underwear became smaller and more form-fitting. The idea of lingerie having a sexual appeal slowly developed.
It's always something I've had a desire to do. I always think about myself, how I felt, not just wearing clothes on the outside, but how I felt inside, what was under my clothes, feeling nice and feeling good about myself. I always had a desire to go into lingerie design, and one day I kind of like just woke up and thought, you know, I'm not going to let only the men decide what I'm going to wear. Let me also think of what I want to look like and what other women should be looking like. So kind of that drove me into designing lingerie.
Brenda also specializes in night dressing, which she insists is important.
Basically, apart from the bras and the panties, I also, you know, I make like slips which you can wear under your clothes. Let people know that we all wear underwear, we all wear lingerie, and it's good for you, you know, it's, I mean, no one of us does without it, so it's kind of like we don't have to be ashamed of it.
The negligee, literally meaning neglected, is a form of women's wear intended for night and in the bedroom. Now that we are in the 21st century, what are the lingerie blunders we must watch out for?
I think everyone must have something black, because, you know, there are those times when, you know, you wear and you don't want it to come out of the clothes, you know, to show out. And also, if maybe you're lighter skin tone, sometimes it really works well on you to have something black. And also, you'll need, once in a while, you need something also white to lift your spirit up, or some blues and, you know, different colors. And also, you know, when wearing lingerie, I think it's not really nice to, you know, wear red knickers and a blue bra. It just doesn't work. You know, you need something. If you're wearing red, have everything red. If you're wearing, you know, blue, have something which matches, unless it's designed to be, you know, complementing each other. But really, it's always good to have something which matches.
Although Brenda has already launched into her dream career, she still has major plans for Uganda and the rest of the world.
I hope to, you know, get a deal with a manufacturing company, because it normally gets expensive just to make one piece, and, you know, someone comes after a month and they just want one piece. It's really expensive. I've contacted some people in China. I'm also trying to work with a manufacturing company in Uganda and see if we can come to a deal to manufacture these items.
Although Brenda has a big eye for fashion and design, she also has a big heart for the displaced in northern Uganda. She has produced a documentary strictly for charity to be featured in the British media during the Black History Month in October 2007. In this part of the show, we look at one of Africa's greatest poets, Okot. Poetry, derived from the Greek to mean a making or creating, is a form of art in which language is written independently as discrete poems or may occur in conjunction with other arts, as in poetic drama, hymns, or lyrics. Family, friends, avid gathered together at the National Theatre to pay tribute to their hero. Okot was born in Gulu in 1931 and died in 1982 of a liver infection. He is mostly known for his poems, Song of Lawino, A Song of Okol, and the East African Song School, which won international recognition. The event was therefore to recognize his contribution to the pro-African identity by creating an authentic African voice in his poetry.
His work has gone far beyond even his own expectations. Because when he wrote his first book, that was way back in 53, I was a baby then. But it was in vernacular. It is a big hit among the Acholi. And Song of Lawino came along in 66, Wepa Lawino, in vernacular, which he later translated into English. And then Ochol was in a response to Lawino. But I'm sure if he can look back, he must be amazed, because it has gone far beyond his expectations. So many people have translated it in various languages. And only 2002, I had a visitor from Japan who had translated it into Japanese and who came all the way to Uganda to go and see his grave, pay homage. And I'm sure he would wonder. It's gone far beyond his own expectations.
The event showcased a number of his poems focused on Africans finding and loving themselves and the evils of corruption eating up our continent.
Says I am responsible for the poverty of the peasant, and I, the cause of unemployment and landlessness. Did you see me tour the countryside recruiting your daughters for prostitution? How did I make man ignorant? Wasn't it I who asked the minister to build a school in your village? Did I prevent children from other villages from going to school? I have a property. But come, beat the dust off your feet. Jump to my Mercedes. Let me take you for a ride and show you around my farm. You see, when the tractors first noted these lands, they need to scatter into the ground like squirrels, like animal rats. They were stood by hunting. Behold, Africa's wildest bush is now a green. Sprakata, Sprokoto, and I hear a big round of Sprakata. That was more for them. Look at him. Look at you. He's playing. White teeth in bright big gum.
First of all, I'll think of Okot as a poet, as an artist. And what artists do is to document their society, history, talk about issues, talk about the good and the bad. And that's the legacy you can leave, or that's the contribution you can make as an artist. And I think that's what Okot did. His work is diverse, really. If you look at, for instance, Uganda today, in the situation we're in now, and you read Okot's poems, you'll see that actually whatever is happening now is almost already talked about, already written.
As an ardent advocate of African tradition, Okot Biptek was also a singer, dancer, drummer, and athlete. Thus, the event was graced by the vigorous performance of the Fonkide drummers. It is easy to understand Okot's love for the drum, as this unique instrument has always been an integral part of African culture, used in rituals and religious ceremonies. Okot Biptek may have gone, but is still in the corner of many people's minds because of his great poems.
I'll quote one of his poems. Fortunately, I was moving with this. It says, Africa, idle giant basking in the sun, sleeping, snoring, screams, diseased with a chronic illness, choking with black ignorance. I think what's killing Africa actually is ignorance, not knowing what we do have and not appreciating our own. And that's what Okot talked about. So I think his legacy is still celebrated today because he stood for the truth.
As the saying goes, when the music changes, so does the dance. Let's keep dancing to the tunes of our soul.
I think he had a good life. Whatever he did, he was to make people happy while reflecting on life as it is.
That's why we still celebrate his poetry, his art, and his life. And I think he's not dead because we still see, you know, that's what it should be done. It's in all circles of art, painting, film, poetry, fashion, music. All these are like areas which can help to contribute to society.
Many of us look for candles when there are power cuts, birthdays coming up, or while in church, and yes, on Valentine's Day during candlelit dinners. Candles have cast a light on man's progress for centuries. It is often written that the first candles were developed by the ancient Egyptians, who used rushlights or torches, made by soaking the pithy core of the reeds into molten tallow. The rushlights had no wick like a candle. It was not until the Middle Ages when beeswax, a substance secreted by honeybees to make their honeycombs, was introduced. Types of candles vary from pillar, dinner, container, votive, tea light, luminaria, gel, specialty, and church candles. Each of these candles is made from either gel, soy, beeswax, and vegetable products are also available. We caught up with a local entrepreneur who decided to make candles after looking for a job unsuccessfully for over a year, and now her True Light candles are in the most major supermarkets.
After finishing my studies at IU, I looked for a job for 1 year and I failed to get one. One of my friends, I had friends when you were still at IU, he was working for a certain company. When I went to see her, she told me she can help me to teach me how to make candles. I didn't pay her money because we are good friends by then. She taught me how to make candles for about 1 month. I started my own business here at Mutundwe. This is the second year when I'm doing this, and I'm not regretting why I'm doing this job.
While modern candle making and processes vary, most candles are made through the timeless process of placing a thick cotton wick into wax, which is then molded, dipped, or filled into the desired shape and size.
So we shall leave it there
for a lot of hours. After it solidifies, you begin pulling this pipe, you pull it, you pull it, you pull it. As we are seeing, it is losing contact with the pipe. So after pulling it out, it is looking like this. And this is now a finished candle.
Many candles also contain dyes or pigments for color and fragrances for scent.
This is flex candle. It burns for 4 hours. It is used for decoration. We have code number 3. Code number 3 burns for 6 hours. Then we have Stonella mosquito repellent candle, and it burns for 12 hours. But every day you use it for only 1 hour. That's 12 days. So it has no any side effect to the person. We have floating candle that floats on water. That floating candle, for it, you just put it on water and you light it. Then it is able to float on water, especially when you are decorating the parties. We have church candles and we have dinner candles.
Many a time there have been tragedies involving candles causing fires, but it should be noted that candles are safe when burned properly and responsibly. Candles should be kept out of the reach of children and pets, and burning candles should never be left unattended or near cloth hangings. And when you start to fall asleep, blow out your candle. You may never wake up or wake up in horror. That brings this edition of the Art and Design Show to a close. For comments and suggestions, our email address is artanddesign@ntvuganda.co.ug. Join us again next week.
This is NTV.
Welcome to this edition of the Art and Design Show. Coming up, couture that touches a life through fashion and design. And we look at a prehistoric art form that was reserved for kings. These and more stories on our show today. On this edition of Visual Arts, we feature Joseph Mugisha, an artist who does portrait sculptures and paintings from a realistic point of view. Portrait sculpture is an extremely old art form dating back to prehistoric times. Portrait sculpture was reserved for kings and queens and other rulers, or in religious architecture. A portrait is an artistic representation of a person, in which the face and its expression is predominant. The intent is to display the likeness, personality, and the mood of the person. Whilst pursuing his education, Joseph Mugisha chose to follow his heart's desire and majored in the arts.
I've been an artist since I was a kid, since I was about 6 or 5 years. And I went to art school. I have a degree in industrial and fine arts. I've taught at university for about 4 years. And then after those 4 years, I decided to do my own thing.
Although portrait sculpting is a long and tedious process, Joseph believes that the unfolding result is always worth it, and the varying degrees of guidance and inspiration he has received along the way is a testament to this fact.
There's somebody called Auguste Rodin. He's an artist who lived in the 19th century. He's a very good modeler in clay, and he would also cast in bronze. But then today's artists, there is someone called Philippe Farouk. I found him on the internet. He's very good with faces, and he's also what you'd call a forensic sculptor. Yeah, he reconstructs faces from skulls. So very good inspiration for me.
A portrait sculpture is three-dimensional, meaning that it has got height, width, and depth. In his initial process of sculpting, Joseph takes his client through a photo shoot session.
I get to take photographs of this subject in 3 dimensions. You have the front, the profile, the 3/4 view, and the top. Sometimes the chin also, the chin angle is taken. And once I have all that information, then I arrange it, and then I do some sketches in pencil to further understand better, acquaint myself with the topography of that person's face. Basically, I would be looking at simple sketches, not portrait, exhibition portrait drawings. So the simple sketches are done, and the shading is done in planes to make sure that I understand how the face is put together. And once that is done, then I now move to the stage of having a ball of clay that is nice and roundly shaped. Shaped to look like an egg, simple oval shape. Once I've done this, now I then move in and create sockets, eye sockets, which are more or less, I move my fingers across and build eye sockets over it, which are similar to a skull, you know. But all this is done with prior measurements of the actual maybe size of the head, or if the actual size of the head does not exist, I have an estimate of what it would be like. Once that is done, I get bits of shape them to create the eyeballs. The eyeball is essentially slightly smaller than a golf ball. So once the eyeballs are put in place, then I place strips of flattened clay over the eyeballs to create the eyelashes. The lower eyelashes, I place the lower strip first because the upper eyelashes overlap over the lower eyelashes. At this point, I'm not looking for a likeness. At this point, I'm just getting the features in place. So once that is done, then now I can begin to think about trying to get the likeness right. Now, to get the likeness right, I use the profile of the picture. So the profile of the picture helps me to understand how the face juts forward, how far the nose juts forward, how wide the lips are, and generally it helps me to get the general shape of the head. And how do I do that? I use a thin strip of clay, I build it at the front, right from the right all around the head, and I follow closely the shape of the profile of the photographic information I have, and there we have a strip of clay put in place. Some artists, some sculptors, for the pupils of the eyes, some sculptors create holes to simulate when the shadows are cast over the pupils, they look black. Others do not remove any clay from the pupils, so the eye remains looking blank. At this stage, it's still wet and greenware, but essentially you can see the stage whereby you have the likeness of the individual. You also have all the features in place complete. You have the lifelike look.
But how can a sculpture withstand the harsh climatic conditions?
Terracotta is very durable. It can stay outside for hundreds of years. But then on the terracotta we put what we call a patina. A patina is a protecting chemical on the top to protect it from the elements of weather and also to enhance its beauty. So we place the patina on. We don't varnish terracotta work or sculpture at all. We polish it, and then if we don't polish it, we put a patina. If it's bronze, it can be patinated. If it's brass, it can be patinated and polished.
Where does Joseph think that he will be in the near future?
5 years from now, I'll probably have a studio of my own. I'll still be doing art. Probably be a sculptor who does sculpture for the foundry. Sculpture to be cast in bronze, do fountains on commission.
And so for now, Joseph continues to use the elements and principles of art to communicate the specific meanings through sculptural portraits. Sometimes, it is not enough just to share the world with those exceptional few, but to commemorate our loved ones in stone, clay, or marble is worthwhile. In today's society, cosmetics are the integral part of modern fashion. Cosmetics use can be traced back to a couple of centuries. The first archaeological evidence of cosmetics usage was found in ancient Egypt around 400 BC. In the Western world, the introduction of cosmetics was in the Middle Ages, but it was typically restricted to the upper class. The use of cosmetics is sometimes referred to the layman as making up. But what is makeup? Makeup is a subset of cosmetics which refers primarily to the use of colored products intended to enhance the user's appearance. It is said, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, but it may be more practical to say that beauty actually lies in the hands of the makeup artist. Many a time we have seen individuals magically transformed by a makeup artist. In this part of the show, we meet Hannah Mujeni, a makeup artist who has given up her all to make people look and feel beautiful. Prior to her current profession, Hannah worked for MTN and later went on for further studies in telecommunications abroad. This ordinarily would make one more driven to progress in this sector, but not Hannah. She decided to switch to a completely different profession altogether, and the big question in all our minds is, why?
I still had my job at MTN, so it was at somebody's kwanjula, a friend's kwanjula. So she asked me to come do her makeup, and I thought, well, what an opportunity. Enjoyed it, so I might as well, give it a try.
But how did she gain the experience to do what she does so perfectly?
I went to the major Estee Lauder, major designers for makeup, Estee Lauder, Mark, and I asked to watch why they do what they're doing because I had experience in makeup. I got to learn how they work their makeup, their shades, because then I got to see the other side, the Mzungu side, the skin tone, the different skin types, how it works, and then I started, to work on people. It was really, really nice.
It is no doubt careless application of makeup selection of the wrong beauty products can damage the skin. What can we learn from the blunders we make?
If you don't use the right bases, you're gonna end up getting a bad skin because everything stays in. You're applying something, but you need to take it off again. It makes you look good, but you need to take it off again. So you need to make sure that you have the right bases for it and the right cleansers and toners. You need to know the right skin tone that you're using. I mean, you have, pardon me. Most women think that what works for somebody else should work for them. You need to make sure that you check your skin type before you use any product.
There are certain cosmetics that we buy knowingly or unknowingly that contain steroids, mercury, and hydrogen peroxide that bleach the skin. And there are many dangers that surround bleaching.
What it does, it burns off the first layer of the skin. And if it does that, it kills and then brings out the lighter part of your skin, which should be hidden by the first layer of the skin, really. And if you scarred, if you had a wound or anything, you wouldn't be able to heal. So I wouldn't really advise anybody to bleach. There's so many products that are out there, and they say, well, you get a lighter tone, but I wouldn't really advise anybody to do that.
All makeup has got a shelf life, which is a critical measure in maintaining one's look.
Everything should be used within 6 months. If you've had it for longer than that, chuck it away. What happens, it gets infested by bacteria. And that even is wrong for our skin. So 6 months, chuck it out. Trends of makeup. It's what they call smoky eyes, which I have on right about now. Smoky eyes is you can have it in the day, you can have it in the night. It's very nice in the night if you throw some glitter on there. But what it does is it's just a darker eyes around the eyes, and then you bring out a yellow above the eye, and then you line. That's what's called smoky eyes. That's the major trend that is in. I mean, it's very beautiful. Anybody, you can have it in the day, you can have it in the night.
Hannah, like many other young women, is focused on growing and giving her all in enhancing women's looks.
My plans are to make sure that, to open up a place that teaches people how to do makeup, to see that people can come and check their skin types, and I can advise them on what to use for their skin. Skin bases is very important. Before you can apply makeup, you need to have the right skin base, and that I need to be able to do.
Remember not to share eye makeup even with family members, to avoid the spread of bacteria. It is imperative that you keep your cosmetics out of the sun and store them in a cool, dry place. Coming up on Art and Design. Africa Timefika is a consortium of East African plus Rwandan, Ethiopian, and Burundian designers whose aim is to showcase their African designs the world over. Realizing their dream because they were recently in Dublin for the Festac Festival 2007, among the many places they're planning to visit. The Festac Festival is an annual event which brings together participants from all over Africa and Ireland to make fashion statements, showcase movies, batiks, foods, photographs, and arts and crafts, which not to mention colorful.
For the Festac Festival in Dublin, we had 6 designers exhibiting. We had Ali Rahmatullah from Tanzania, Franco Shirima from Tanzania again. Then we had Eli Tumwine from Uganda, Dorothy Lubega D. We had Latif, we had Chewy, plus young Irish designers from Dublin.
There we go, with the designs. We start with Maureen.
The Africa Timefika show at the Serena Hotel under the theme Touch a Life and Change It Through Fashion and Design, which was simply beautiful, with designers from East Africa, together with others from Ethiopia, Burundi, and Rwanda, showcased their newest designs to bring a fusion between both the Western and African designers. We were at Serena Hotel to witness the event meant to expose and market fashion cultures and portray the uniqueness and the norms of both worlds of Western and African designs. Some of the designers were Maureen Akibua, exhibiting a strong sense of design using African fabric to make Western styles and trends.
Another design from Maureen Akibua. If you want ashes, if you want to dress your ashes, Maureen is there for you. There they are, from Maureen Akibua, Uganda's own. Very friendly. There she is, Maureen Akibua. The lady with the brains behind all the designs you've been seeing.
Ali Rahmo from Tanzania.
Ali Rahmatul, fashion, right now.
Latif, known for his urban street designs.
That is still Latif. Nice overall. From the attire. Made from Pauline's, yes. Now we have them in another kind of dress, evening one. Still from Latif. Set of Ethiopian designs from Fenot. For those of you that love the colors, there they are. Pink. The cream looks nice. With those Ethiopian colors. Wow. Here we go. Ethiopian designs from Fenot. Nice evening wear. There it is. That is the man.
The multi-talented Samson, songwriter,
Samson, with designs that take you into an exploration of what one can define as abstract art, fashion, and design.
Wow.
To his name, he has a couple, numerous awards. Samson, thank you very much.
Eli Tumwine not known as a general, but for also using cow hides to design African clothes, shoes, and great paintings.
Yes, I told you he's from the West. And now if you see one of the designers with the Nkoni, all those are the designs. See the cows? We have the cows there, the designs of the cows, the lost from. And you see the shoes. Yes, we've had shoes here. Oh, look, the long horned cows of Ankole.
That's it for today's Art and Design Show. Remember, anything, in any way beautiful, derives its beauty from itself and asks nothing beyond itself. Join us next week for another edition of the Art and Design Show. For your comments and advice, please email us on artanddesign@ntvuganda.co.ug. And until then, enjoy the rest of your viewing.
Thank you. Enjoy your evening.
This is NTV.
showing the sums required to spend shall be laid down before Parliament in the case of excess expenditure.
Filling the budget hole.
Government seeks approval of a 500 billion shilling supplementary budget.
Welcome to NTV Tonight. Several protests have today broken out as anger continues to grow over the management of the Youth Fund.
Over 200 youths came out to express their discontentment in Kawempe, and in Nakawa, angry youths stormed the Lord Mayor's office.
Meanwhile, in the city centre, a group of youths nearly stopped an ongoing KCCA council meeting after attempts to storm the venue of the meeting.
We will have all the details coming up, and it is on this issue of the Youth Fund that we will be seeking your views tonight in our NTV poll.
Good evening and a warm welcome to Wednesday's edition of NTV Tonight. Let's now have a look at the rest of the headlines.
The hotel the Minister of Foreign Affairs lives in, my friend. He's downtown in Queens.
The embarrassment of working in a broke ministry. Minister Oriam talks of the plight of working in the underfunded Foreign Affairs Ministry.
Youth Fund standoff. Over 200 young people protest the management of the job stimulus kitty.
And live besides the stunning Rwenzori Mountains, we connect you with the picturesque Fort Portal town. A very good evening and thank you for joining us here on NTV Tonight. I am Faith Ariho.
And I am Gabriel Apeno. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, government is seeking the approval of a 517 billion shillings supplementary budget before the close of this financial year.
The money has been cut from ministries and other government departments and reallocated to cater for shortfall in salaries and wages of other ministries and departments.
However, lawmakers on the budget committee are hesitant to endorse the supplement, saying it's beyond the legal requirement of 3% and per the Budget Act.
Key among ministries and departments which have been affected include local government, work and transport, judiciary, KCCA and Uganda National Roads Authority. Jingle Francis has that top story tonight.
By the 1st of July, the 2011-2012 financial year will be over with an allocation of 10.3 trillion shillings. But a week before it ends, government is calling upon Parliament to approve 517 billion shillings in the form of a supplementary budget.
That movement requires the approval of Parliament because only powers it's only Parliament that has that powers to approve, to appropriate.
But as of now, we are within the law to come to you within 4 months because the law mandates it.
Government says the 517 billion shillings has been reallocated from various ministries and departments and is intended to largely cater for shortfalls in salaries and allowances from key priority departments of government such as the President's Office, State House, the Ministry of Defense and Police.
We have suppressed within the government of Uganda budget, but the suppression is within. It is actually a reallocation. And the Honorable Minister made the point that because URA had underperformed, we didn't have any room to finance the supplementary through additional revenue.
As we've mentioned here, there's been additional recruitment, but it's been mostly by UPDF and the police force and secondary school teachers. So it's not been so much people sitting in offices. But even this has to come under some kind of structure, some kind of system. So we've come up with our options and we look to the honourable members to discuss those options, add their own options, and then we can all see the way forward on this very critical matter.
However, committee members are hesitant to pass the supplementary budget, saying it falls outside the legal provision of 3%. Committee members argue that the over and above expenditure raises credibility of the budget process.
Where did they get this money? If it is new money, outside the 10.3 trillion, it is illegal.
They're saying they have used close to 10%. And that's why he's saying the Auditor General has to come and help him. Because the light is now very clear that it appears they have messed up themselves now. And for us as the Parliament, why should we again, or as the committee, why should we again accept their mess, just that we go on the floor of the House, then the member of Parliament in the House again start criticizing. So we are keen.
Key among ministries and departments which have been affected include public service, local government, works and transport, judiciary, gender, labor and social development, KCCA, and Uganda National Roads Authority. Those that have received bigger additions include the Ministry of Defense with 132 billion shillings, the Parliamentary Commission with 65 billion shillings, and President's Office with 8 billion shillings. Jingo Francis, NTV Parliament.
Lack of money in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has left the country's missions abroad in a bad shape, according to the Acting Minister for Foreign Affairs, Okello. The minister says the lack of funding has led to poorly facilitated ambassadors, which is portraying a bad image on the international stage. Oriem, who was appearing before the Budget Committee, told MPs that with such challenges, he would have resigned the portfolio if he was not an NRM cadre. As Agnes Nandutu reports, Oriem told MPs that he has been embarrassed on several occasions when his counterparts see him sleep in what he describes as slum hotels and travel in economy class while they travel first class.
In all governments, Ministry of Foreign Affairs is the number A1 ministry, following on the presidency. But in Uganda, Ministry of Foreign Affairs is just one of those to whom you may concern. It's sometimes embarrassing that it's because we are cadres and you just accept your deployment and you don't question the deployment and you move on.
These were the lamentations of Okello Oriem, the Acting Minister for Foreign Affairs. Oriem, together with Finance Minister Maria Kiwanuka and officials from other ministries, were appearing before the Budget Committee of Parliament to defend a supplementary budget. Besides Uganda's dilapidated structures abroad and poorly facilitated ambassadors, Oriem told MPs that even the hotels he can afford to pay for while negotiating for the country are embarrassing and leave a lot to be desired.
But I will tell her, the Minister of Foreign Affairs lives in, my friend. He's downtown in Queens. Like, go cool, my friend. This is the Minister of Foreign Affairs. In the evening, my friend says, let us meet at the Waldorf place for consultation. I pretend I'm sitting at the lounge with the Waldorf with them. I pretend I'm staying up there. When time comes, I say, excuse me, go to the toilet. I'm going to my book. No, really, Uganda.
The MPs seemed amused, but the minister was clear and unfazed with his words. He retaliated that he travels like a common person and is driven in an old car.
My car, I'm driving the car, is 7 years old. 7 years old. Your Minister of Foreign Affairs drives a car when you're 7 years old. And you hear clicky, 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 you are going with the men. When I fly to the General Assembly, we normally converge at Heathrow Airport with my colleagues from ministers from other places, where the business lounge, you know, big people. Then when they enter the plane, I'm alone in the business class. Where are others? Are they in first class? No. Where? They're in the first class. They continue consulting. Me, I'm here.
To enable him perform his duties, Oriem is demanding for enough facilitation.
What I'm begging, listen, what I'm begging, I'm not begging anything more than what is due. Give us exactly what is within our ceiling. We will, like others, tighten our belt and work within our ceiling. We're not asking for more.
He told lawmakers that when he travels abroad, he is treated as a high-profile delegate and high-class facilities by his counterparts. But he has nothing to offer when they visit him in Uganda because of lack of money. Agnes Nandutu, NTV, Parliament.
Now, hundreds of youths from various divisions in and around Kampala have today come out to express their discontentment over the management of the youth job stimulus fund is in several separate protests. Angry youths gathered to protest in Kawempe. Meanwhile, in Nakwa division, youth stormed the mayor's office demanding an audience with him. And in the city center, youths nearly stopped an ongoing KCCA council meeting after an attempt to storm the venue of the meeting. The angry youths say KCCA has failed to honor a memorandum of understanding it signed them, which allowed for access to the funds without any conditions. The authorities' stance on the matter has, however, since changed, prompting today's action.
The protests began in Kawempe and later angry youths in Nakawa division also stormed the mayor's office demanding an audience with him. The bone of contention stems from the 16.5 billion shillings job stimulus package at KCCA meant to create jobs for youth.
We are getting back to the old system of going to the bank, yet KCCA as an authority had made a privilege to the young people of Kampala to get those funds without securities and interest. But now it is claimed they should go to the banks and get that money, but with the security and interest.
However, the aggrieved groups say when they tried to access the money this morning through their account, not only did they not find any, but also were shocked to discover their previous savings gone as well. Some council officials have faulted KCCA for the mess in the fund's management.
What was included was only guarantors. We guaranteed these youth and they did all what they wanted. If we keep changing again guidelines every other day, financial has ended, where shall we end? I think the youth are quite right.
A memo that was shown to NTV, apparently from the Lord Mayor's office and addressed to the Executive Director, confirming the delay in disbursement of the funds, was also rubbished by the angry youths. Police were deployed in both Kawempe and Nakawa to stop any potential breach of security.
By the end of today,
the youth have also threatened to drag KCCA to court if their queries are not addressed. Meanwhile, a group of other youths nearly stopped an ongoing KCCA Budget Council meeting after they attempted to storm City Hall. Previously, when the youth went to City Hall, the mayor had promised to invite them to air out their views about the Youth Fund, but when they appeared today, they were denied entrance on grounds of their riotous behavior.
Well, it is on this issue that we would like to hear from you on tonight's NTV poll, and we are asking, what do you think should be done to enable more young people access the Youth Fund in order to create more jobs? What do you think should be done to enable more young people, access the Youth Fund in order to create more jobs?
To have your say, text 8778 followed by yes and a no, as well as your name and where you're texting from, and we shall be reading some of your comments during tonight's newscast, as well as bringing you the final poll result for tonight.
Next tonight, Uganda is to deploy a formed police unit, or FPU, consisting of 140 personnel to Somalia to maintain peace and security. The aim of the deployment is for the officers is to assist the Somali police force in ongoing efforts to maintain and improve security as the country aims at restoring stability and security to the lawless state. Maurice Ochol has those details.
As part of ongoing attempts to restore security and stability in Somalia, the local police force play a critical role. However, they require further assistance by the end of this month. Over 140 Ugandan police officers are to be sent to Somalia.
We are in the process of finalizing our arrangements to send a formed police unit to Somalia, and they are expected to leave by 30th of June 2012.
The police that are being sent will work directly with their Somalia counterparts in patrolling, crime prevention, public order and general restoration of rule of law.
Because the army is already there, but they are going to work hand in hand to make sure that the security and safety of VIPs and also places of vital installations is enhanced in one way or another.
The troops will be based in the capital Mogadishu with command structure and have been thoroughly trained to deal with still the unstable security situation that Somalia is still facing up to today.
There is already a command structure in place in Somalia. We already have Mr. Oyenyeko, who is one of the commissioners in Somalia under UN. The UPDF is there, and even as they leave, they will go with somebody whom they will be answerable to. They'll go with the chain of command.
Uganda currently has over 8,000 soldiers under the African Union mission in Somalia to help stabilize and pacify the troubled country from the militants Al-Shabaab.
We're now going to take a short break, but there's still so much more ahead on NTV tonight, and here is some of that.
Find out why President Paul Kagame of Rwanda has a bone to pick with the United Nations.
And an excursion by St. Augustine Senior Secondary School turns tragic as 2 students drown in a river. NTV Tonight continues after this short break. See you shortly.
This is NTV. This is NTV.
Ideally, we all have the right to express our opinions and views truthfully and openly.
Atele long tugenda katongole mbukasam.
Kampala bwerere. Mwansomu. The bus. The discussion is still going on in the bus.
Tulina okugumira challenges ezimu bwe tuba tulina okugoba abatembeeyi mwami Lukwago agumanga abatembeeyi mugende mbadde njala kunyonyola omwami yagambye nti meya Lukwago ye meya omutuufu.
Gavumenti ekutte Lukwago emunyigira mu nsonda takyekyusa.
Welcome back to Minibus Kyogereko.
Singa omusajja abankwana nga njagala sifa ku kya ssente. Wabula nfa ku mbeera ye
alimba ono
This is Minibus Kyogereko.
Fieldwork has been defined by different scholars. Some think it is an art.
These are the blood types that are in human beings. We have A.
When a chemical reaction takes place, it involves two things.
We are given a straight line that has been denoted by 2x minus y is equal to 6.
Welcome back. We begin with a reminder of our NTV poll question for tonight and some of your responses. Tonight we ask, what do you think should be done to enable more young people access the youth fund in order to create more jobs? What do you think should be done to enable more young people access the youth fund in order to create more jobs for them?
To have your say, text 8778 and your comments followed by your name and where you are texting from. Let's now take a look at some of your comments so far.
Okay, Chris Joy Mulindwa, you say, I one day went to a bank in town and they asked me for a land title, car card or any other security I had, and I had to run away. I think the limitation of security should be scrapped.
And Lan Ibra here says, set up a committee comprising mainly youth to manage the youth fund and eliminate the elderly getting involved.
Well, do stay tuned. We shall be bringing you some more comments at the end of tonight's bulletin, so keep contributing to tonight's poll. Now moving on, Rwandan President Paul Kagame has lashed out at the United Nations for not being responsible for its actions and failures that it had, especially in the Democratic Republic of Congo, beg your pardon, as opposed to shifting blame to Rwanda and tarnishing its image in the long run.
He has also denied having any input in the current rebellion in the Congo, as it has been reported by the UN, insisting that Rwanda is not responsible for any of Congo's problems, especially where UN is involved.
Craig Kadoda attended the press briefing in Kigali and filed this report.
In May this year, the UN released a report that accused Rwanda of complicity in supplying weapons and soldiers to the rebels in the DR Congo. This report sparked off a discussion that has seen Rwanda officials repeatedly deny the report and any involvement with the rebels in Congo. Today, the Rwandan President Paul Kagame came out to speak about the allegations and lashed out at the UN for failing to take responsibility of its failures and instead resort to blackmailing Rwanda.
We will be forced into a situation where we just draw a line and say, well, if you don't even want us to be useful, if you don't want us to participate in finding a solution, and you are just creating false grounds to blackmail us, we don't respond to blackmail. We don't at all. So we will draw a line and say, okay, forget about us and forget about us in the Congo. We will deal with matters just on this side. Whoever finds us here, we will fight it out.
While addressing journalists at the State House in Kigali, the president clarified the good relationship between Congo and Rwanda and blamed the UN for creating an image that all Congo's governance problems are because of Rwanda, as opposed to acting necessarily as a peacekeeping body that has operated in the country for years.
The main focus is on continuing to have good relationship with Congo and to continue to work with the Congolese so that we resolve our problem that still remains based in the Congo, and that is of these FDLR, these genocides in the Congo. That's our best main interest. Now, in this fighting for all kinds of things in the Congo, among the Congolese, now the whole world and the Congolese are saying, no, the problem is Rwanda. Here, how does the problem become Rwanda?
President Kagame also stated that he is not responsible for Rwandans that have over the years settled in Congo and are accused of committing crimes in the country. He suggested that the UN should find a solution for them because most of them are genociders running away from justice in Rwanda.
I have no responsibility over it. So, if somebody therefore is going to say, oh, there are these Rwandese in the Congo who are supposed to be Congolese citizens, whatever they do, whatever they don't do, whatever they say reflects what Rwanda thinks and what Rwanda is doing, and so on and so forth in the Congo. Now, there is nothing we can do about it. If there is anybody who can do about it, it's those who created that situation. Do they want to supplant them and bring them back here to live in Rwanda? Let them go ahead and do it. Are there grounds to treat them as citizens of that country? That's fine. They should look at it and see the merits of it. But we cannot have a situation where it is neither this nor that.
Now the president is calling upon the UN and other international bodies like Human Rights Watch to stay away from Rwanda's recovery and reconciliation process because they never offered and still don't offer their desired services when necessary. Craig Kadoda, NTV, Kigali, Rwanda.
Here now is a wrap of other stories making the news tonight.
The Inspector General of Police, Lieutenant General Kale Kehura, and his South Sudanese counterpart, Lieutenant General Achwil Tito Madut, are now working together to strengthen border and highway security. The dialogue between the two follows the staging of a sit-down strike by drivers bringing business at the border to a standstill. The dispute resulted in the presidents of the two countries intervening in the matter before the drivers would return to work. Complaints of mistreatment from traders by South Sudan security officials have been rife, with some of their members being killed and property being looted.
We shall definitely use the because YAPCO is going to take place here, the next meeting. So definitely we are going to make border security and highway security a priority because our people should move freely and safely. So it's something that's definitely on the agenda, and all of us are cognizant of it. But you not just talk about, because we have talked about it for a long time.
Elsewhere, two senior force students from St. Augustine Senior Secondary School in Nachifuma, Mukono District have drowned in the Rabiata Falls on River Nile. The deceased have been identified as Willie Sebalu and Hilda Namwanje, who were attending fieldwork with 60 other students. The relatives of the dead are accusing the school of neglect by giving the pupils permission to swim, and the director of the school narrowly escaped being bitten by angry parents of the deceased. Other eyewitnesses blame the administrators of the school for not instilling discipline in the students.
And finally, renowned pastor William Mwanguzi, commonly known as Chiwede, has been arrested on allegations of rape. It is alleged that Chiwede offered a lift to 3 ladies who are heading to Mengo, but before their destination, the ladies were forced into the grounds of a church by 2 gentlemen, and one of the ladies was raped by the 2 men, while the other 2 managed to escape. Police investigations are continuing tonight into the incident.
And we are investigating the rape. Exhibits have been recovered from the place where the rape was committed, and also we have impounded Chiwede's vehicle because the victim was able to identify an Ipsam vehicle with its registration number as a vehicle that was being driven by Chiwede, and actually this morning we have gotten the same vehicle being driven by Chiwede. So we are holding him. We want him to produce the other 3 people he was with in the vehicle, and also to help us carry out more investigations.
Now, Uganda was at the end of 2011 recognized as the #1 tourist destination in the world by Lonely Planet for 2012. This is a scoop considering that little has been put to market the country as compared to our neighbors in the region. As the tourists keep pouring into the country, there are areas in Uganda that are taking the lion's share of the tourist dime. The Rwanda region comes on top of the list for any visitors coming to Uganda. Tonight, Patrick Kamara connects us with Fort Portal, which is today enjoying a unique advantage because of the geographical location.
We begin this journey from the eastern side of Fort Portal on the new Bundubujo-Lamia Road. As you ascend the hills of Musandama about to get into town, you are marveled by the natural beauty of Mother Nature. This mountain that shadows the town also provides it with a moderate temperature and cool environment. I start from this side to get a feel of how it would be like to get into town from the Congolese side of the border through Bundubujo and into Roko. The serenity of these mountains is only interrupted by the sound of the roaring streams down the valley with their cold and crystal clear water on an unending journey that has continued for millions of years. Here, you will see vehicles carrying tourists gliding down in a constant flow day and night as lorries carrying cocoa produce come up from down the Semliki Valley in this meandering road. And it's not just the foreign tourists enjoying this beautiful scenery. Ugandans too are slowly getting into local tourism. As we get closer, you cannot avoid King Oyo's palace. Built on the highest hill in the center of Fort Portal, the location alone gives it that majestic and grandeur touch that accompanies royalty. We are beckoned by this sight, and my colleagues say we must conquer the hill by walking up there. It turns out to be a better way of starting the trip, beginning by learning the norms and culture of the Batoro. The man in charge of palace affairs is also giving a tour guide of the palace, accompanied with a lecture of the ancient kingdom of Kitara that stretched from Karuma to eastern DRC, northern Tanzania, and parts of Rwanda. Dr. Muhumuza is a son of the soil, and he has been here several times, but that does not stop him from returning again and again. So I asked him to introduce his town.
My name is Muhumuza Habat Atenyi. I come from Fort Portal, a very clean town, very friendly people. Everyone knows you. You just feel loved even when no one says a word. That's my town.
Many have testified about the cleanliness of Fort Portal, and so I attempt to meet the people who make it happen. Asimwe Stephen is one of them. I find him in the trenches bent at work. Despite the lack of protective gear, Stephen and his colleagues who are scattered around are municipal employees who love their job. This lawn between Badia and Kasese Road is meticulously clean. Even on a Saturday, Stephen and his colleagues have had to come and pick litter. Fort Portal derives its name from Major Sir Gerard Portal, a British military officer whose statue stands overlooking the town with that imperial pose. Some people say that actually Gerard Portal never set foot on this town. There are only 2 learning institutions in Uganda that claim to be the only schools: Ntare in Imbarara and Nyakasura School here in Fort Portal.
There is that spirit that you gain from Nyakasura School. Whenever you are a student of Nyakasura, you always live, wherever you go, you really feel the glory of the school is all around you.
And there goes the commander. We let her catch up with them at St. Leo's. All the Scripture Union members within Fort Portal schools are here. It's going to be a Saturday of praise and worship. For non-members at this school, there is an excitement. The girls are here. We leave the students and return to town as we scatter around the municipality through Vilika Cathedral, built in the 60s to withstand an earthquake of over 8.0 on the Richter scale. It is an architectural marvel. We now head to Chianinga, about 8 kilometers north of Fort Portal. There is an ideal place for honeymoon. A local resident tells me that if you are planning to divorce, don't visit with your spouse because you will fall in love again. Some tourists have come here, and before long, this becomes home. It has happened to the proprietor of Chianinga Lodge, and Matthew, the manager, and many more before them.
It seems to happen. It seems to be a good place for people to get stuck. That's what happened with Steve, the owner. He came here with a backpack to see the gorillas and got stuck.
And then Matthew got stuck.
And then Matthew got stuck as well, yes.
If you had been here maybe a few months ago, this was probably just a bush. But now Fort Portal and the adjoining areas are changing for better, with such developments coming in. And now Ugandans from other towns are always coming here on weekends to unwind because of the beauty and the serenity of this area. Before I leave Fort Portal, I head to the ultimate place, the legendary Mountains of the Moon. It kind of gives you a warm embrace from both the people and the place. Built as part of the former chain of Uganda hotels, William Byaruhanga has transformed it to this breathtaking level. The leaders want to turn this town into a city with their slogan, Nikisoboka. It's possible.
So Nikisoboka is all about inculcating that culture of hope, culture of hard work, culture of thinking big and working together as a people.
As a blanket of cold mist covers Fort Portal on a Sunday morning, I reluctantly head for Kampala. The tour of my hometown is over. I'm Patrick Kamara.
Fort Portal town for you, courtesy of Patrick Kamara, son of the soil from there. Thank you very much. It's now time for business, and we'll move over to Malcolm Musime to bring us just that. Take it away.
I'm not Joel. Thank you, Gabriel and Faith. And in business tonight, you're welcome, and we'll find out how Uganda can take advantage of its large and still growing young population to spark growth in key production areas. So you can join me after the break for this and so much more after the break. NTV Business, so just don't go away.
I do not fear talking to Parliament. I don't fear talking to, as a minister. It's my responsibility. In the same breath, I am also very frank to the President, who appointed me, and I swore to advise him, and I tell him without fear or favor the truth.
This is NTV. This is NTV.
Good evening, Malcolm Seaman. You're welcome to NTV Business. And first tonight, even while the law on substandard goods is still stuck in Parliament, the Uganda National Bureau of Statistics has begun a campaign to engage specific sectors on dealing with these problems. Meeting cement sector players today, UNBS proposed, among other things, that manufacturers deal with registered distributors to reduce the opportunity for perpetrators of adulterated cement. Samuel Setumba with more.
The instrument that will enable the Uganda National Bureau of Standards to bite now lies with Parliament in the UNBS Amendment Bill, now in the House.
The issues to do with fines, how much one should pay if found, for example, adulterating cement. Right now, if we take you to court, the fines are a little bit low.
UNBS authorities believe that this law will answer queries of substandard products, which the counterfeit law does not. UNBS today engaged cement manufacturers discussing the issue of adulteration of cement as a sector-specific engagement program to help deal with the problem of substandard products.
We are trying to dialogue with the manufacturers to ensure that we have registered distributors in each of the districts.
Let the manufacturers think of rewarding whistleblowers in the media. That will help us.
Cement adulteration, among other things, leads to collapsing buildings and loss of life, while the perpetrators continue thriving. Samuel Setumba, NTV Business.
A look at the financial markets. Now, several counters made gains today, helping the oil share index to move up by 56 points to 1,071 shillings. We have more in the financial market report. Yes, and finally in NTV Business for tonight, Uganda can use its big population of young people to spark growth in key production areas, especially the labor-intensive ones, such as agriculture. And well, this is according to the Republic of Korea's Charge d'Affaires Park Jong-dae, who says that by promoting a working culture in the country's young people, estimated to be over 50% of the total population, it can offer a major leverage to drive the country's growth. The fact that Uganda is blessed by nature is to some the very reason why much of this truth has not been transformed into tangible development milestones for the country. While the country has favorable soils, good climate, and a fairly young and energetic population, the productivity from its key sectors like agriculture remain far below the progressive economy's benchmark.
That has acted as a factor slowing down the urgency, because people can be satisfied with what they have in agriculture. But I think it's time that we can no longer waste time and do that, because Uganda cannot fall back compared to other countries. Other countries are growing in this age of globalization, and as the President said, in the 50s, 60s, we were about the same per capita income with Uganda, and so much changed. So it is high time that Uganda makes urgent, immediate, and active effort to transform itself, because it has all the resources.
According to observers, the starting point should be for the country to invest in transforming the attitudes in its youthful population, which is expected to drive the much-needed growth.
Yes. The young force, the youth, can be a huge asset in terms of that they can contribute directly to the GDP. The size of economy is very important in this era, because the smaller your country is, you can be high in per capita income, but less in size of the total wealth of a nation, which is a very important factor in this globalized world.
The issues emerged during the first Uganda Republic of Korea Conference on Agriculture held in Kampala. That winds off NTV Business for tonight, and thanks for watching. I'll take you back to Gabriel and Faith. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Malcolm, and see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Malcolm.
Now, Joel Kamadi joins us to give us sport. What should we expect, Joel?
Thank you, Faith. Thank you, Gabriel. Just a quick one, Faith. What do you think about Cristiano Ronaldo?
Well, I think he's the best football player in the world.
Well, away from that, join me after the break as I will be telling you why the Cranes coach, Bobby Williamson, is now looking ahead to the same combination for the Cranes' forthcoming Continental and World Cup games. Stay with us. NTV Sport is up next.
This is NTV.
Chichi,
What's life?
is life ugly?
Is it spiritual?
Isn't it loved?
And above all, isn't life really drama?
Find out what life is and what it can be every Thursday at 11 p.m. with repeats on Friday.
Good evening, I'm Joel Kamadi and you're watching NTV Sport. The Uganda Cranes team that saw off Congo-Brazzaville in the 2013 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier last weekend impressed the head coach Bobby Williamson today and is now looking ahead to this combination for the forthcoming Continental and World Cup games. The Federation leadership, however, have reservations with regards to government's commitment to facilitate the national team.
As Uganda Cranes look to knowing their next opponents in the final round of the 2013 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers, head coach Bobby Williamson is contemplating maintaining the team that eliminated Congo-Brazzaville.
I don't like changing teams who have been successful and have done well. And it would be difficult for me to leave players out of the team. Every opposition is different. I think if we'd have played with that team against Senegal the previous week, we may have struggled. They may have opened our defence up a bit easier. So as I said, you've got to be cautious at times as well.
The National Football Governing Board officials are however uncertain whether the just read budget covers President Museveni's pledge to support the Uganda Cranes with over 350 million shillings annually. He had also promised that government would take over paying the salary of the head coach and each of the Cranes member 1 million shillings monthly.
So the breakdown of how much of this is going towards sport, I have not seen it, but it must be there. That's what I think. So we have, I was sharing it with one of the commissioners in the ministry, that we need to get to know this, because the parliament is going to start debating the budget, passing it and making some changes here and there. If the president's pledge is not there, then that automatically means that we have to lobby the MPs.
The Cranes resume and conclude their 2013 Africa Cup of Nations qualification campaign in September with 2 home and away games against one of the teams that played in the final early this year. Alfred Odong, NTV Sport.
Now, a visiting group of Canadian rugby players and coaches have given Gulu Elephants a lease of life with a series of training sessions aiming at equipping the side with modern tactics in the game. Gulu's Humphrey Ogwang believes the limited number of teams in the second division of the National Rugby League has deprived his team of enough playing time for his players to showcase and develop their skills.
Gulu Elephants Rugby Club is set to benefit from a 2-week training clinic conducted by a group of Canadian players and coaches. The group who arrived in the country last week are taking the Elephants through a series of endurance and skills sessions.
And we want to highlight the talent of rugby here in the north, because we have some fantastic rugby players both at the men's and women's level, but as well as the high school level. And I feel that rugby loses its edge outside of Kampala, and we really want to bring and highlight the fact that there's some wonderful rugby players and some wonderful talent here in the north.
Although the team recently dropped to third position of the National Second Division League, team manager Humphrey Gwang believes the support by the Canadians will change their fortunes.
For this year, honestly, we are doing badly. So that visit is timely. It's timely. We're going to do capacity building. We're going to do an assessment to see where we are at and make a plan on how to move forward.
The local coaches in the district will also benefit from the training program.
Now, Uganda's chess champion is on course to emerge an international master following yesterday's triumph over Nigerian feed master Emmanuel Madwanguna. Emojong, who is currently ranked with 3 points from possible 4, is striving to win the zonal event currently on in the Nigerian capital Abuja. Emojong, who faces 2 more international masters in his remaining games, needs to win both games to stand a chance of winning the championship. Victory for the Ugandan feed master will automatically qualify him to the title of International Chess Master. His female counterpart, Christine Namaganda, also beat Nigeria's national champion Asanga Nsisong last evening to amass 3 points out of a possible 4. Namaganda, like Emojong, has so far won 3 games and lost 1. Now, Wayne Rooney marked his England return with a goal that secured his team a place in the Euro 2012's last 8 and the winners of Group D, but it was a rough passage eased by helpings of good fortune and controversy against Ukraine. In the other match, Sweden's striker Zlatan Ibrahimovic's spectacular goal helped condemn France to the Group D runners-up spot and a quarter-final against Spain. All the highlights of the Euro 2012 coming up. Rooney's second-half header saw Roy Hodgson's England leapfrog France, who crashed to a 2-0 defeat against Sweden, but still limped through to the last 8. Rooney, who had missed a glorious first-half chance to break the deadlock, headed in from close range after goalkeeper Andriy Pyatov had spilled Steven Gerrard's cross.
The Ukraine defence stood and stared, and Rooney nipped in. England have their lead. Their talisman has picked his moment, and Ukraine are on their knees.
The real post-match talking point, though, centered on a call for goal line technology, as co-hosts Ukraine saw a Marko David shot apparently cross the line before being scrambled away by John Terry. It was a cruel end to Ukraine's tournament and a lucky break for England, who held on to secure a quarter-final clash with Italy while France faced Spain. France, on the other hand, struggled to get on going, and Ola Toivonen went close for Sweden when his shot struck the outside of the post. Ibrahimovic eventually punished France when he brilliantly volleyed in from 15 yards from a Sebastian Larsson cross.
The goal, and they've 2 up here. Ibrahimovic! What a goal! What a goal from Zlatan Ibrahimovic! Quite magnificent, and that's why he's one of the best in the world. A sensational volley from the Swedish captain has got them celebrating in Kiev.
Olivier Giroud headed high for France before Larsson smashed in a close-range shot for Sweden's second.
Off the bar, in now, Larsson. Sweden have done it. They've won the points here. They may be going home bottom of Group B, but they're going home triumphantly. And they have inflicted on the French a first defeat in 24 games.
Are you ready to drink at the table of men?
And just before I wind up NTV Sport, earlier, Faith, I asked you what your view about Cristiano Ronaldo, and you said you think he's the best player.
Yeah,
well,
sure.
Barcelona president Sandro Rosell insists the world's most expensive footballer would only be good enough for a place on the bench at the Nou Camp, which I disagree with.
Very interesting view from the Barcelona president there. Thank you, Joel, for this sport. Let's now have a look at tomorrow's weather forecast.
Tonight.
Okay, let's go back to tonight's NTV poll, and we asked you, what do you think should be done to enable more young people access the youth fund in order to create more jobs for them? We will begin with reading a few of your contributions. Mwesigwa Kennedy, you say pass the money through community circles to enable the youth at grassroots access the funds.
And Alex here says to sensitize the youth on this fund because it is not payment for their votes but a loan, and no bank will give out unsecure loans. And
Samuel Osami said the procedures and terms for acquiring the funds should be made clear. Government should also make the entire process transparent to avoid cases of shifting blame in case of failure. Well, we thank you so much for all your comments tonight. Let's now sample. I beg your pardon. Thank you so much for watching NTV tonight. And Gabriel Epeno will be back for NTV 11. Indeed, I will pay. Thank you so much. That's it for now. I'm Gabriel Epeno. Good night.
This is NTV. This is NTV.
No one feels the motherland like we do. So tune in every day at 6 p.m. and Fridays from 11 p.m. for the best in homegrown music. Only on NTV, the station that celebrates local music talent.
What's life?
Is life ugly?
Is it spiritual?
Isn't it loved?
And above all, isn't life really drama?
Find out what life is and what it can be every Thursday at 11 p.m. with repeats on Friday and Sunday at 12:30 p.m. Life, Chichi.
What's life?
Is